Okay, so this is just a quick look at the new Canon PowerShot SD780IS, which is the successor to their popular SD770IS, which I had reviewed earlier. Again, it's about the same size overall as the 770IS, although this time they've made it a little thinner. So I think it's like a few millimeters thinner, so it's ultra small, ultra compact. Again, as a size reference, about the size of a credit card. So on top of the camera here, you have the shutter release button, the zoom rocker, the power button, and I believe that's the speaker grill. The nice thing I like about the 780IS is the black coating that they have on here. I can see it wearing off eventually. It kind of has a powder coat texture to it. But it's a nice camera. It also comes in silver, red, and I think champagne color. So on the front of the camera here you have the tiny flash, which is basically a good up to 10 feet. You have the optical viewfinder and the LED focus lamp, the lens itself, and the little slot there's the microphone. So when you're taking videos, you don't want to block that little tiny hole there. It's easy to do. It's power on. You see the lens expand like so. So it really doesn't protrude out too badly. So at the bottom of the camera here you have the tripod socket, and here you have the memory card and the battery compartment. This flips out, and it does take a secure digital SD card. And there's the proprietary battery. So you can see the door for the compartment for the battery and the SD. I just happen to be using a 16 gig SD card. You can get them in different sizes. This is the SanDisk's version, the Ultra. I also have the 4 gig in the Extreme. It's a little faster. The Extreme cards are, I think, supposedly faster than the Ultras. I'm not sure if you're going to notice a huge difference in the different speeds of the cards, but definitely get the ones above their basic brand, depending on which brand you get. So you get the 8 gig here, and then if you really want to go high, they do make a 32 gig. This is actually by PNY. The 32 gig card, you won't run out of space at all. So reinserting the memory card and the battery. This catch here is a little tricky to use. When you put the battery in, you have to pull the tab down so that it can lock into place. So looking at the side of the control here, basically you have 3 settings. You have the auto, you have the program, whatever, and then you have the movie mode. If you don't want to think about what the camera is doing, you just want to snap the picture, just leave it in the auto mode there. If you want some basic controls, click it down to that middle setting, and when you want to shoot video clips, click it down to the option that has a movie icon. So as you can see, in the full auto mode, you don't have many options here. You have the option of selecting the file size, and as you can see, the file number changes depending on how large your image is. What I would do is leave it on the L. Generally cameras come with a medium setting, and that, I guess, helps them to inflate the overall memory capacity. They never quote you the highest superfine or the large setting. So that's all you have the control over. When you have it in the full auto mode, you just have that. There's no exposure compensation, no nothing. I think you can, you can turn the flash on or off, so you have auto or off. And then you have the self-timer. Now under the program setting, this is where you have some control over the overall exposure. It doesn't give you manual control per se, but it does give you some basic control over the exposure parameters. ISO as well. This will go down to 80. I wouldn't recommend pushing it past 1 or 200 ISO because of these smaller sensors. They usually have a lot of noise at the... You start seeing the noise about 200 ISO and up. But if you really need the image and you're in a bind, I guess a grainy image is better than no image at all. Here's your white balance here. And these are the different color modes. Now this is the meter reading pattern. You have evaluative, which basically takes the whole scene and averages out the light readings. You have center weight, meaning it's going to give you more priority toward the center of the image rather than the edge in terms of reading the light. And you have spot metering, which is really nice to have if you're in a tricky lighting situation, such as if you're photographing a performance and the performer is in a spotlight. Using spot metering, it'll only meter off the area that the spotlight is hitting and not the surrounding dark areas. So that's handy to have. And of course you have single shooting or continuous shooting. Here's some of the menu options here. It does give you the option of muting the camera, which is nice. And I've explained this before in my other video. Set your LCD brightness to 1 to lowest, because generally the cameras come with a higher setting and it fools you into thinking that you're getting a well-exposed image. Oftentimes than not, the image on the camera screen is brighter than what's actually being recorded. So I usually set it to the lowest. It's still going to be a little brighter than the actual image, but it's going to give me a little better representation of what it's going to look like. So you have the menu settings. The other option is right here. You can turn the display off, which is nice. Turn it on without any information overlay, and you can have it on with the information overlay. The other thing I forgot to mention is that this does also have an optical viewfinder. So if you want to save your battery, or if you're outside and it's hard to read the screen, you can look through this little tiny pinhole there. I mean, it's not that bad, but a lot of cameras don't have that option. By pressing this button right there, this will bring you into playback mode. And from here, you can review all your images. And then you'll know which are images and which are video clips. The images will take up the whole screen. A video clip will have a rectangular pattern or shape to it, and you'll see the little movie icon here, right there. And if I press this middle button here, it'll play the movie back, give you the transport controls. Like so. So hitting this right rocker switch here allows you to scroll through your movies or your images. And you have some basic menu options. You can access also from the preview mode. Also, you can hit the display overlay and it'll show you more information about the image. It'll tell you the time and date in which it was shot. And it also will give you some basic exposure information as well as a histogram there. Battery charger that comes with the Canon. It's pretty small. You have the flip out prongs there. Folds down for easy storage and transport. And the battery itself. You want to get the proprietary battery. I would always recommend don't get the generic ones because they may not have the circuit protection, which will prevent it from overcharging and exploding. So as a size reference compared to the camera itself.